Hey guys, it is Frosty the Songman from Red Radio Reviews. It is September 18th, 2018, and on this day in 1933, blues singer Jimmie Rodgers was born. Alright, tonight I'm going to review an album which I love. I love this album. And just as a side note, when I find more time, I don't have a lot of time these days to do these videos, but when I get more time, I'll do all of Pink Floyd's albums, all of Rush's albums, all The Who, all Zeppelin, all of these great bands, all the Kinks albums. So bear with me, all of Genesis's albums. So there's a lot of bands I love. I want to do like most of their whole repertoire, but I'm kind of just starting because I don't have a lot of time these days to focus on this channel. I'm just picking off albums here and there that I love, but I may not love every single one of the artist's albums, but like the Pixies I did last was a good example. I like a lot of them, but I like Doolittle the very best. It's the same story with this one. I like Jackson Browne. I'm a fan. I enjoy a lot of his albums. Great songwriter. But this is my favorite. This is my absolute favorite. It's called Late for the Sky. Released in 1974. His previous album, For Everyone, I think was the name of it, was a little too expensive for David Geffen. So Geffen told him, look man, this next album you got to do it cheaper and quicker. So Jackson Browne took his road band, he was touring, and he's like, hey man, let's go into the studio and punch this album out. So he used his band members that were on the road with him, who were Larry Zach on drums, Jay Winding, piano and organ, David Lindley on electric guitar, lap steel guitar and fiddle, and Doug Haywood on bass. And a lot of those guys sang backup vocals too. But yeah, so Jackson Browne said, all right, so they cranked it out in 6 weeks' time. And I actually think this is a better album than For Everyman. The Pretender, I think, is an album, and it might have been after this one. That was a very good one too. But yeah, it's amazing. I brought up this theme before on my channel. Like sometime when you're crunched for time, you're under pressure, you have to do something, you don't have a lot of time to overthink things, you really produce some great stuff. And this is a great example of that. It came in at half the cost of his previous album in only 6 weeks. The songs, Late for the Sky, Fountain of Sorrow, Farther On, The Late Show, The Road and the Sky, For a Dancer, Walking Slow, Before the Deluge. Yeah, so I'll put that on the screen for a second. So this was his third album, released 1974. It won a Grammy in 1975. And let me tell you something about the Grammys. I probably stopped watching the Grammys around 1995. The Grammys used to be important, like, oh, you got a Grammy. If you're talking like in the 70s. But nowadays, to me, the Grammys is a big joke. It's just, I never watch that stuff. If somebody gets a Grammy these days, that doesn't mean a damn thing to me. But if somebody got one in the 60s or 70s, it probably meant a little bit more because that was when, they were recognizing more good music, I think, back then. It peaked number 14 on the Billboard charts, ditto for the Billboard charts. Bilbo charts, that's a good name for it. Browne was living in his childhood home in California when he began writing for this album. He used his touring band, like I said. The album was completed in 6 weeks. All right, I said all this. He got a lot of his friends to sing on this, actually, which was cool because he was hanging out in LA, and there was a lot of great stuff going on in LA in the late 60s and early 70s. Linda Ronstadt was out there, I think Neil Young, Graham Parsons, the Flying Burrito Brothers, I think Jim Morrison was hanging out there. The Byrds, Crosby, Stills and Nash. So there's a lot, and there's plenty more than I just mentioned. There's tons of great stuff going on in LA in the early 70s. So he got his friends, J.D. Souther, Don Henley, and Dan Fogelberg to sing backup on this album. So I don't know what to say about it. You know, it's a sad, introspective album about loss, about sorrow. Listen to it when you're kind of in a down mood. I'll play a little bit of it. I should have learned some of these songs on guitar.
How the words had all been spoken, and somehow the feeling still wasn't right. And still we continued on through the night. Tracing our steps from the beginning until they vanished into the air. Trying to understand how our lives had led us there. Looking hard into your eyes, there was nobody I'd ever known. Such an empty surprise to feel so alone. Now for me,
Great song. Fountain of Sorrow. The band is really tight. You can almost tell it's a touring band because they fit together so nicely. They gel.
looking through some photographs I found inside a drawer. I was taken by a photograph of you. There were one or two I know that you would have liked a little more, but they didn't show your spirit quite as true. You were turning round to see who was behind, and I took your childish laughter by surprise. And at the moment that my camera happened to find you, there was just a trace of sorrow in your eyes.
What can I say? I've listened to this album probably 100 times. That's David Lindley on guitar. He's a very unique guitar player because he's got a little slide on his pinky. But he plays guitar like a regular guitarist, but he can throw in that slide whenever he wants to. So it's not like the Allman Brothers, where like the whole thing is slide. He kind of just adds it in very tastefully. Nothing against the Allman Brothers, I love them.
Adrift on an ocean of loneliness, my dreams like nets were thrown to catch the love that I'd heard of in books and films and songs. Now there's a word everyone I've ever known is wishing well.
It's a great song too. The Road in the Sky. This is the most rockin' song on the album.
When we come to the place where the road and the sky collide, throw me over the edge and let my spirit glide. They told me I was gonna have to work for a living, but all
This is called For a Dancer.
Keep a fire burning in your eye. Pay attention to the open sky. You never know what will be coming down.
Beautiful song. I used to play this song with the band.
I don't remember losing track of you. You were always dancing in and out of view. I must have thought you'd always be around. Always keeping things real
By playing the clown.
Now you're nowhere to be found.
Again, this is a song about loss, the death of his friend. Other songs are about loss of love. So it's a song about loss and sorrow. An album about loss and sorrow. I'm pretty sure that's David Lindley on violin. So he's a great all-around musician. Plays a few instruments.
Keep a fire for the human race. Let your prayers go drifting into space.
Alright, we're getting a little new agey there.
Walking slow down the avenue.
Alright, I guess there's another
through my old neighborhood.
rock tune on this album.
Don't know why I'm happy. I got no reason to feel this good. Maybe it's because I'm all alone and I got no place to
Alright,
go.
last song before the deluge. Hey, fast forward a little bit, get into the song.
The troubled years that came before the deluge. Some of them knew pleasure, some of them knew pain, and for some of them it was only the moment that mattered.
Fast forward a little.
And exchange love's bright and fragile glow for the glitter and the rouge. And in a moment they were swept before the deluge.
The deluge, how appropriately, right after Hurricane Florence. So, yeah, my verdict is this is Jackson Browne's best album, in my opinion. You may disagree with me, but you'd be wrong. So, yeah, I would definitely get this. If you kind of like 1970s mellow rock with a lot of harmony, introspective type stuff, sorrowful stuff, this definitely needs to be in your collection. Late for the Sky, 1974. One of my faves. Great album cover too. One of the greatest. He got his inspiration for this from a French painter. I think he saw the painting and he got the idea for the album cover. But he might have actually taken the picture, I think I read one time. Anyway, buy this album. Alright, Frosty the Songman, Red Radio Reviews. Thanks for watching and listening.